Read the situation below and answer the 3 associated questions. A powerful, intelligent king, Vanamali, once ruled over an ancient kingdom, Vanarajya. The kingdom was known for its high mountains and sprawling plains, and 90% of its land was under forest cover. Very nice. High mountains, plains. Trade in forest produce was the mainstay of its economy, supported by subsistence agriculture. With the increase of population, over time, the forest in the plains was cleared for agriculture. Okay. The forest in the mountains continued to supply nutrient-enriched water and abundant forest produce to the plains. As a result, agricultural yields were bountiful. The plains prospered as compared to the mountains. Very interesting. They're blessed with natural resources. The mountains have the nutrients and they send water which is nutrient enriched. They have the forest. The plains have cleared out the forest. They're doing agriculture. They enjoy forest produce. They enjoy good water. And the plains are prospering compared to the mountains. Mountain life is tougher. Obviously, you want the forest area here because this can't be really cleared for agriculture. This is cleared for agriculture because the yields are good. The plains are prospering. And so I think that this thing will hinge on this. The plains prospered as compared to the mountains. We're having a mechanism where one region is enjoying the fruits of natural resources present in the other region. And so the foresters could lay claim to the fact that they are blessed with forest cover, which produces forest produce, and the ability to give nutrient-rich water. The plains can say the water is coming here, we're using it, we're supplying. So the plains can say, why should we subsidize you? The forest could say, you are using our resources, but we are not getting to enjoy the fruits. That conflict is inherent in many places. Let's see how the questions go. The increasing prosperity of the plains people tempted those in the mountains to divert forest land for agriculture. Okay. Vanamali was afraid that expansion of agriculture would result in deforestation of the mountains. Yeah. The mountains get deforested, then nutrient-rich water will not come for the plains. Forest produce will reduce, which they have in abundance, which has been part of what has been driving their economy. So it's tricky. He doesn't want that to happen. Which of the following is the best course of action for Vanamali to conserve the mountain forest? Urge the elders of the mountains to come up with agricultural practices that ensure no erosion of forest cover. Good idea. Nudge, persuade, don't give a decree to come up with agricultural practices. Maybe if you had given them a list and asked them to follow, validate, that might be interesting. They might not have the incentive to come up with a bunch of practices. So the idea is good, but I would ideally want something to be more persuasive. Right? Levy a tax on traded agricultural produce from the plains to cross-subsidize supplies to mountain people. Basically generate funds from the plains and give it to the mountain people. There's one way of normalizing this. One way of saying, hey, I'm taking more tax from this group and providing to that group. There's a kind of balancing act that several governments do. The part that is prospering because the resources of another component, the part that is prospering spends slightly more on taxes, gives slightly more on taxation, and it cross subsidizes. And so it's a good mechanism. Again, good idea. The one thing here is once you put a tax, the one who's taxed, they feel like it is onerous and they don't get the tax revenue. It goes to somebody else. Sooner or later, the plains people will say, I'm cross-subsidizing these forests. They don't provide something of economic value. There's so much taxes on me and I'm giving it to them. Whereas that is further from the truth, because the forest cover being maintained and the nutrient-rich water coming from there, that underpins the agricultural wealth of the plains. So this is not the plains providing some charity to the forest cover. So that message I'm a little not comfortable with, but again a good idea. 1 and 2, A and B have both been good ideas. Institute a mechanism that ensures plains people pay royalty to be transferred to mountain people for maintaining forest cover. Plains people pay royalty. I don't know on what they will pay royalty to be transferred to mountain people for maintaining forest cover. So the more forest you maintain, the more amount you get. So they pay some form of royalty for the forest. So it is for the idea of having the forest up there, they pay royalty, and this gets transferred to the mountain people. So it's very clear that this royalty is paid in order to have the forest cover being maintained. So there is an expectation that the forest cover should be maintained, and they pay royalty because of that. And so levying a tax here to cross subsidize supplies, they could get the money and still do divert land for agriculture. Who doesn't want more money? Whereas here, the amount is paid for maintaining forest cover, clearly. And so this also is interesting. And we're getting too many good choices. I don't like it. And constitute a committee to protect the forest with powers to punish those who fell trees. The punitive measure as a first step. I'm not such a big fan of a punitive measure, something that punishes and puts a burden on somebody else. I think it can be done with a nudge and a tax and a royalty and an encouragement rather than a punishment. Declare a mountain day when plains people meet and thank mountain people for sustaining their agriculture. Lovely. No. It seems like one of those fancy HR practices that amount to nothing. So I can eliminate D&D slightly more confidently. It's between A, B and C. Urge the elders of the mountains to come up with agricultural practices that ensure no erosion of forest cover. That's tricky. Where are they going to come up with that? You need land. So forest cover is going to fall. And you have to have a bigger incentive system than just urging the elders. And so I would look between B and C. Tax on agricultural produce to cross-subsidize supplies to mountain people. Mechanism that ensures plains people pay royalty to be transferred to mountain people for maintaining forest cover. I like C a little bit because the incentive is not just broad but specifically for maintaining forest cover. B says, look, we'll cross-subsidize. But then people might get the cross-subsidy advantage and continue to divert forest land for agriculture. Whereas C, what they get paid is linked to how much forest cover they maintain. So not only do they get money, they also have to maintain their another bargain, which is maintaining forest cover. Lovely. Let's go to the next one. Vanamali, afraid of further deforestation, issued a diktat against felling of trees in the mountains. In due course, thanks to the booming agriculture, the king, along with plains people, began to prosper. However, mountain people became relatively poor thanks to Vanamali's diktat. He says, okay, no felling here, which is good, but then there is a relative disparity. You're using the natural resources from one region and prospering. At the same time, the region that is providing the natural resources is getting poorer. This is a typical example given in a number of instances in India where states get broken down. The one part of the state always claims that, hey, I'm being used. My resources are being used, but the funds are going there, the economy is going there, the big trade surplus going there, the urban development happened there. Extent to which my natural resources are exploited, I'm not being compensated for that. So carve me out into a separate state. That's where the state demand usually comes from. So it's an interesting scenario. Which of the following options should mountain people choose to best protect their long-term interests? Seek employment in the plains. This is good. This definitely is a good idea. It ensures that you go and find a job for yourself, handle yourself. But long-term interest, they want to make the mountain land work. You cannot say, okay, mountain provides nutrients, this provides agriculture, everybody come here, the forest cover, let it disappear. Then over time, everybody's interests are killed. You have to have a sustainable economy in some form for the forest people. They need to have some means of generating extra income there in the forest, not necessarily go away. Stop the flow of rivers to the plains. No. This is basically saying, getting angry and saying, look, I won't give you the river, give me some money. Basically, I don't care about this, I'm going to stop it. So generally, as a rule, don't go for the extreme option, which basically says no more talks, destroy everything, prevent it from going there, cut off the supply of that, don't supply electricity, none of that. Don't go for the extreme cutting off option. Charge a premium on forest produce and issue hunting permits. Issue hunting permits. This could be interesting. Charge a premium on forest produce. So try to get more money from your forest produce. Issue hunting permits. Issue hunting permit, that's another source of revenue. And hunting can happen only when forests are maintained, which is an automatic incentive for forests to be maintained. There's a way of generating slightly more revenue on back of having forests. Charge a premium on forest produce, get more money. So C, I like. A and B, less so. C seems interesting. Ignore Vanamali's diktat and divert forest land for agriculture. No. Prefer the option that engages. Don't prefer the option that violates a rule. Don't say, okay, the government is always going to screw you. Ignore the government, do your own thing. We have to take up guns and define what we are about. Fight and kill people. Don't go for those options which are not towards engagement and discussion and dialogue. It's basically saying, look, the government is saying this is illegal. This is the government. Government has issued a diktat. You fight with the government, you try to convince the government, you persuade the government. Amp up how you're doing it. But you can't say, look, I'll ignore it, I'll do my own thing. But you can't go for that choice. Sell forest produce exclusively to the neighboring kingdoms. Anything you do to neighboring kingdoms, it's an issue. This is your kingdom. You have to find a mechanism to solve the problem. It could be your aunt and uncle sitting there in the plains. Every time you start engaging with neighboring kingdoms, it increases the risk. So I'm not a fan of D&D. I don't want B either. Between A is all right, but it's basically saying this doesn't work. I'll go find for myself. So C it is. The village elders of the mountains had informed Vanamali about the presence of a precious metal in abundance under a large part of the forest. They pleaded with him to repeal his diktat and permit felling of trees for mining. Seems like a reasonable thing. There's a lot of resource now. We need to tap it. Vanamali knew that the precious metal would make his kingdom prosper. Good. However, he was worried that mining would reduce the flow of nutrients, water, and forest produce to the plains. So, he was worried about three things: nutrients, water, forest produce. If we can offset maybe two of the three, it should be good. Right? So, let's think about this. There are 5 statements here, which are the following sequences of action plans in the descending order of their ability to contribute to Vanarajya's sustainable prosperity will be the most appropriate action. So we have to list all 5. Right? Repeal the forest diktat and charge hefty royalty for mining in the mountains. So repeal diktat, that seems reasonable. Charge royalty. The risk here is if you just put a royalty number. If it is low enough, then everybody can come in and then they can devastate the forest without worrying about which part they can mine and which part they cannot. There could be a sudden rush, and that could be negative. But otherwise, the idea is good. Make sure mining can happen, but charge money for it so that the kingdom gets prosperous. Permit mining in the mountains and enforce rainwater harvesting in the plains. Mining, you permit. Rainwater harvesting gives you the water in the plains. Forest produce will fall. Nutrient rich water will fall. And permit mining in the mountains and begin afforestation in the plains. You let them mine, begin afforestation in the plains. So forest produce might be maintained and the forest cover would be good. You will continue to, it doesn't look like there's a water shortage. So water might continue to be reasonable. Nutrients might struggle. No, nutrients might also be okay. Whereas there'll be some water with nutrients that is coming from there. So 2 and 3 are both all right. Not great, but good. Permit mining. Either go for harvesting rainwater or for afforestation in the plains. One of these two. Both are okay. This will give us maintain forest produce, might also help in rainfall and water. This is purely for water. There does not look to be a water shortage in this place. So 3 would probably shade 2. 3 is slightly better than 2. But good. Continue with the forest diktat in the mountains. No. We've told it's precious metal. Present in abundance. And it would make the kingdom prosper. We have to tap it. We might have to bend over backwards to take care of the environment and people and balance and sustainability, all of that. But we can't go for an option which says this is wonderful and we'll just leave it there. That doesn't work. Right? Permit limited mining in rotation but maintain the forest dictate in the rest of the mountain. Yeah, I like this. So the issue we had here was people could just jump in and mine in different places randomly. This is limited mining in rotation. So it is, the sustainability is automatically taken in, but maintain forest dictate in the rest of the mountains. Beautiful. So maybe 5% this plate, tap in. We'll see where we go. Small steps, maintaining the balance. So I really like 5. I don't like 4 that much. So 5 should come early. 4 should come late. 2, 3, 1 in the middle. And so let's look at this. 4 is coming early. These two are out. 4 in the middle. 1 in the end. Continue the forest dictate. Or permit mining and mountains and begin of no, not such a big fan of this. I think 3 and 2 should come close by. Both are saying permitting mining. One you go for rainwater harvesting, other you go for afforestation. One gives you water, other gives you forest. 3 would probably shade 2, but I can't really imagine 3 and 2 being split up dramatically. So it's between these two. Permit mining and begin afforestation. Permit limited mining in rotation. 5 is really good. 3 and 2 are not that good. This one would be the answer. 5 is really good. Limited mining. Maintain the dictate in the remaining parts. Go step by step. Worry about long-term sustainability and manage this well. 3 and 2, one gives you afforestation, other gives you water. So both are good. Between 1 and 4 and 4 and 1, I would have liked it. My preferred order would have been 5, 3, 2, 1, 4. And so where I would say, look, repeal the dictate and charge hefty royalty. So let them mine, but take money for it so that you can handle for prosperity. That's better than saying no mining at all. But 5, 3, 2, 4, 1 seems to be all right as well.